Hi, and welcome to another game review. Today we're going to be looking at Ubisoft's latest installment of its Assassin's Creed series. Those of you who saw my previous review on FIFA 15 would have heard me mention the games, which come around on a yearly basis, with Assassin's Creed being one of them. This time, however, we have a next-gen only game, so my interest was peaked a little higher than before. Assassin's Creed in recent years has tried some different approaches. The games took a turn to sea-based battles and jungle exploration. While the games were good in their own right, I did begin to lose some of my personal interest in the series. Unity aims to change it all again, with the game much closer to its roots. For all of its recognisable traits and throwbacks to Assassin's Creed of old, Unity is surprisingly progressive. The previous games, which always managed to include some light-hearted characters along with an endless procession of historical figures, have made way for a sharply focused personal tale that eschews moments of joviality, for an overall much darker tone. To start the game, and for the second time in this series, we take control of a Templar, although for a much shorter period this time round. We then get to see the new protagonist, Arno, played as a child in a brief tutorial-heavy scene which concludes with his father's death and introduces another fascinating character, Elise, again as a child, but more on her in a moment. Arno himself is certainly one of the most charismatic and well-acted Assassin's Creed leads we have seen. I place him a close second to Ezio at this stage. He is cocksure, mischievous, and just enough of a jerk to remain lovable. But unfortunately, the story never exploits his charms to the fullest. It does try though. Unity focused greatly on Arno and Elise, rather than having a large collection of ancillary characters. With less of those extra characters around, most, as mentioned before, taking on light-hearted and almost comical roles, the story finds itself with a much darker tone than any of the other games in the series. It goes from love story to revenge tale to murder mystery and then love story again. Quite the evolutionary circle, and all in a much heartier pace than you would expect from an Assassin's Creed game. That said, the all-important chemistry between the two leads really isn't strong enough. I found myself wanting to know what happens as I played through, but never really caring about the characters as the game events unfolded. The game itself is set in Paris in the midst of the French Revolution. I was disappointed with how little the story tied into the era and the setting. With that said, the attention to detail of the city is incredible. As the story progresses, the city crumbles before your eyes. The streets become awash with citizens burning effigies and waving flags in protest, while loyalists and revolutionaries battle over the future of their homeland. The benefit of the new game engine, Anvil Next, which is created to bring the most out of the PS4 and Xbox One, is not immediately obvious. The game has actually taken a drop from Black Flag's 1080p to 900p, but focusing on this is pointless when the game was so unstable anyway to begin with. The parkour system seems half-baked, with Arno often doing things I didn't want. For a game built by hundreds of people, I'm quite shocked that it could be released in that state. For those of us with the benefit of an internet connection, the recent updates seem to have solved a lot of the release issues. At times, people in the streets will still materialise about a foot from my face, or run through what looks like a solid wall, but at least the issue with the frame rate seems to have been addressed. Previously, during some of the busier chase scenes, the frame rates dropped to what must have been single figures, but the new patches have addressed this. Now there is one part in which I believe the game has come on immensely, the assassinations, and after all, this is Assassin's Creed, so these are pretty important. In previous games, you'll be guided down a path, having to sneak through a certain entrance or make a kill by poisoning a drink. Unity leaves those decisions up to you, and it is incredible. You will still be given hints on what to do, with Arnold scanning the area for potential infiltration points and eavesdropping on exploitable civilians, but you can choose to completely ignore them. In a great deal of cases, I found that following the guideline route or plan was by far the easiest option, but ignoring them was by far the most fun. The replayability factor here is huge, giving you more of an incentive to go back and nail those bonus conditions for completing a mission, and offering multiple options of attack, meaning trial and error is all part of the fun. While these sandbox assassinations make up the majority of the story-following missions, there are still some of the painstaking, tailing missions where a single toe out of line could mean restarting. The co-op missions help us to forget these dated ideas, with the bulk of those being large-scale sandbox assassinations. These do not, however, have an impact on the main storyline, meaning you won't want to plough a lot of time into them until post-game. Unfortunately, the competitive multiplayer from previous games does not make a return. Other additions to the game include breaking the line of sight to an enemy, which will create a visible silhouette of your last known position, which makes it easier to know where the enemy will be heading and so which areas to avoid. The descend function of the parkour means safer and faster travel down from buildings. Other tweaks to the parkour system make it easier to move diagonally on buildings rather than feeling on a set course. Arnold's new Phantom Blade gives access to a silent, long-range weapon, opening up new avenues of assassination to those who opt to hone Arnold's skills in projectile weaponry. Speaking of weaponry, the craft system has been completely removed to be replaced with an in-game cash system. Complete a mission, get cash, buy and upgrade weapons and armour, as simple as that. There is an incredible amount you can buy, all with some effect on Arnold's skills, although the neatest is the ability to tweak your colours for the unique feel. Having just spent a good chunk of money purchasing the game, some will be annoyed to discover that there is locked out content, only accessible by taking part in the web-based Assassin's Creed Initiates, or by downloading the Assassin's Creed Companion app. While being able to integrate your phone or tablet into the experience is nice, it is infuriating to be unable to play certain aspects of the game without them. The other issues, some I have already mentioned in greater detail, are clipping issues, non-playable characters walking in mid-air, and the unstable frame rate in the busier scenes, but none of these are game-breaking. The new parkour, as mentioned before, is great when it works, but immensely frustrating when it doesn't. As much as I am proud to be from the southwest of England, it is a little strange to hear my accent in conversations as I walk around revolutionary France, along with Cockney and various other British inflections. Finally, the game seems to hint at a series trying to return to its roots, and it's certainly the best game in the series since Assassin's Creed 2. It's never quite matched up to Ezio's trek through the 15th century Italy, but it is comforting to know the creators are listening and trying to get back to what they know after wildly branching out in its previous 2 installments. Is it the next-gen Assassin's Creed we were all craving? Not quite. It is a very good Assassin's Creed, and with the recent updates it may even be great, but I'm still going to call this one a step in the right direction rather than the one we have all been waiting for. Still, I think the game deserves a 7 out of 10 rating, and still has me going back for more. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the review. If you did, I would massively appreciate it if you could leave a like and a comment below. I'll reply to all the comments, and the more interest I get, the sooner I'll aim to bring out more content. Thanks again, and bye bye.